I stood in the rain with a shotgun in my hands, watching the son of an HOA president cut the power cable to my farm like he owned the place. In that moment, with thunder rolling overhead and my generator sputtering, I realized this was never about dues or paperwork. This was a declaration of war, and they had chosen the wrong man to push. I bought that land to disappear. That's the part people never really understand unless they've hit the same wall I did. For 20 years I worked as a survey tech for the state, measuring other people's boundaries, standing in courtrooms, arguing over inches of dirt while lawyers twisted facts like pretzels. Every day was noise phones ringing deadlines, neighbors screaming at each other over fences they didn't even build themselves. I didn't want more money or status. I wanted silence. I wanted a horizon that didn't end at a subdivision sign. So when a 160-acre parcel went up for auction, old, unimproved, written off as worthless scrubland, I raised my hand. Nobody else did. The gavel came down sharp and final, and just like that I owned a forgotten farm at the edge of nowhere. The first week out there felt like breathing again. I parked my beat-up Silverado next to a leaning barn that looked like it might collapse if the wind sneezed, rolled my old Airstream into place, wired up a small solar grid, and lived on canned beans and black coffee. No streetlights, no neighbors knocking, just wind through sagebrush and the creak of old wood at night. I slept deeper than I had in years. I knew there was an HOA nearby Pineview Estates, but my deed was clear. My land sat outside their boundaries, outside their manicured lawns, their matching mailboxes, their obsession with control. I checked the paperwork more times than I can count. It was airtight. This place was mine. At least that's what I thought. The first warning came from Sheriff Reynolds, a tired man with kind eyes who stopped by one afternoon while I was setting fence posts. He leaned against his cruiser, wiped sweat off his brow, and said, "Folks over in Pineview like to think their rules apply to anything they can see from their patios. Don't let them push you." I laughed it off. Big mistake. A week later, a pearl-white SUV rolled up my gravel drive, spotless and out of place like a luxury watch dropped in the dirt. Out stepped a woman who looked like she ironed her clothes before taking them off. Perfect posture, perfect hair, clipboard held like a weapon. "Excuse me," she barked. Not asked, barked. I wiped grease off my hands. "Can I help you?" "Are you the squatter?" she said, eyes already scanning my trailer like it offended her personally. "I'm the owner," I replied. "Caleb Thorne." Her smile was all teeth and threat. "Karen Sterling, president of the Pineview Estates Association. We've received reports of unapproved structures and heavy machinery. You'll need to submit architectural plans immediately." I almost laughed. "You might want to check your maps. This isn't your land." She tilted her head like she was indulging a child. "We redrew the district lines last quarter. You'll be receiving your welcome packet." Then she took a photo of me, didn't ask, didn't say another word, and left in a cloud of dust that tasted like entitlement. That night I sat by my campfire rereading my deed by flashlight, whiskey burning in my throat, telling myself she was bluffing. But something about the way she said "redrew the lines" stuck with me. I knew bureaucracy. I'd watched it chew people up for decades, and it never needed to be right, just confident. The papers came fast after that. A glossy envelope taped to my door. Retroactive HOA dues $6,000. Payable immediately. Refusal to pay could result in a lien or seizure. I remember standing there barefoot in the dirt, holding that envelope like it might bite me. $6,000 for what I had: my own road, my own power, my own well. I hadn't asked them for a thing. Two guys in neon vests showed up the next day calling themselves Community Compliance. One looked nervous. The other looked like he enjoyed making people miserable. "This wire," I told them, pointing at the fence I'd built myself, "is the line between reality and your fantasy. Step over it again without permission, and I call the sheriff." They left muttering threats, and for the first time since I bought the place, the silence felt heavy, like the air before a storm. Then I found the cameras. Little fake rocks tucked near my fence line lenses, hidden inside. Surveillance gear. On my land. My stomach dropped, then burned hot. This wasn't harassment anymore. This was invasion. I tore them out, lined them up on my workbench, and stared at the circuitry under a lantern's hiss. Karen wasn't just annoying. She was hunting. The drone came next, a sleek silver thing hovering 50 feet above my property grid, searching my land like I was already guilty of something. I filmed it, documented everything, because I knew one thing for certain: paperwork wins wars like this. Still, there were nights I sat alone in that trailer, listening to wind rattle the metal, wondering if I'd made a mistake. They had lawyers, money, influence. I had dirt and stubbornness. Some mornings I woke up tired of fighting people I'd moved out here to escape. I even caught myself thinking about selling, about walking away before this consumed me. That doubt nearly broke me. Then came the night that erased it. My phone buzzed just after midnight, motion alert from a trail cam I'd hidden near the gate. Grainy green footage popped up and I saw two figures cutting my chain with bolt cutters. I didn't yell, didn't panic. I pulled on my boots, grabbed my old shotgun, unloaded but terrifying enough in the dark, and stepped into the rain. I found them at my generator. One of them I recognized instantly. Braden Sterling, Karen's son. He was reaching for the main power cable when I racked the slide. The sound echoed across the fields like thunder. They froze. "You boys looking for a shortcut to the hospital?" I asked, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me. Braden dropped the cutters. "We're just enforcing the noise ordinance," he stammered. "Cutting power lines is a felony," I said. "Fix my gate, leave, and tell your mother if she wants a war she should send adults." They ran. I stood there shaking after they disappeared, rain soaking through my clothes, heart pounding. Not from fear, but from the certainty that there was no turning back now. The next morning I went on a fence. I called Sarah Jenkins, a real estate attorney I'd known for years, the kind of woman who dismantles bureaucrats for sport. I told her everything. Within hours, she found it. A boundary overlay uploaded late at night, signed off by a county clerk who just happened to be Karen's cousin. Fraud. Blatant and stupid. That's when the fight shifted. We brought in a state surveyor, mapped every inch of my land with equipment worth more than my truck. The results were conclusive. The HOA had digitally stolen 100 acres with a mouse click. But I knew Karen wouldn't stop. People like her never do. So I set a trap. I fenced off an old capped well on the south end of the property, posted warnings about a protected aquifer, and let it look important. Then I sent an anonymous tip to the HOA about illegal drainage. They took the bait. 3 nights later, during a storm loud enough to hide engines, an excavator rolled onto my land. Karen was there, raincoat flapping, pointing and shouting orders while they tore into federally protected ground. I filmed everything. 2 days later, the article dropped. Forged maps, nighttime raids, financial fraud. It exploded. Former board members came forward. Ledgers surfaced. The money trail led straight to Karen. Court was quick after that. Her lawyers talked. My lawyer presented evidence. The judge didn't hesitate. The HOA was dissolved. Accounts frozen. Investigations launched. Karen lost everything she'd built her power on. Weeks later, I saw her walking past my gate alone, smaller, somehow stripped of authority. She looked at my land and said quietly, "It's nice." "It always was," I replied. She walked away. The farm is quiet again now. Real quiet. And the lesson is simple: boundaries matter, and if you don't defend them, someone else will erase them for you.